Hello everyone, and welcome to the first part of the series where I, Gitka666, will talk about what to do in your first 25 games of Mech Warrior, along with the do's and do nots of when you first start out. First things first, you will see the home screen as you do right now. At the top, you will see a lot of buttons, and there are only three that you should concern yourself with. One is the quick play button on the top right, and the little tab next to it. It is the button that you will use to pick which regions you want to go into. And the Mech Lab on the top left side of the screen. All other buttons will be explained later in another video. And for now, just concern yourself with learning the basics of the game before we get into more complicated English. Quick play is where you will be dropping most of the time. It is where everyone goes to jump into a match with 23 other random people, and we duke it out till one team is left standing. When you start, you'll be going up against new players like yourself, and not going against veterans, so no need to be afraid of steel clubbing. Unless you happen to come across a Smurf, which is not unheard of, unfortunately. The region tab should be self-explanatory, but again, it is, you click it, you pick a region you want to go into or don't want to go into by simply unchecking and checking the box. The Mech Lab is where you can go in and look at the armaments of a mech and then change up the weapons, heat sinks, ammo, and armor placement. But for now, you really only need to be concerned with how far your weapons shoot, as you cannot customize the mechs you currently own at the moment. You can find this out by hovering over the weapons that you can see in the Mech Lab. You will see you'll be able to change through your mechs at any point before a match, and when you just start out, you'll be able to pilot trial mechs or free mechs. These trial mechs are always available to you, but the mechs themselves change every 6 months or so. You can test out what the mechs do by going into the testing grounds and firing your weapons at mechs that are target practice and component practice. You can always find trial mechs by going to their far left side of the screen and pressing select mech. Here, you will see we can go from lights to mediums and whatnot, and simply not care because we own the mechs. We can always drop in them at any time. Now, each mech have the same components: head, center torso, head, center torsos, or shoulders, and arms, and legs. How they look will vary, as you can see right here. It's vastly different, where the arms, legs, and head are very distinguished, but the right torso and left torso are not as distinguished, along with the center torso. But with this mech, everything is bright as day in terms of where you're going to hit, except for maybe the head, which is up here. And there's not really a good angle for it. And you have the side torsos, you have the arm, you have the legs, and the nice massive center torso, the huge shoot me here sign. Each component could have multiple weapons or none. It varies on a mech by mech basis. You will learn that through time or in another video. Next, we will be talking about what the heck you are looking at in game. The tutorial covers some of it, but not all, and that's fine. Most of it you can find out about yourself, but it always helps to be pointed in the right direction from the start. So here we go. We're going into the testing grounds. And we're going to see some mechs in front of us. Well, not directly in front of us, but we will see mechs. Of course, the whole loading in thing. And voila, our first mech. You can just fire away. Test the weapons. See what you like, what you don't like. Find out that you have jump jets, and mechs can jump, of course, when they actually want you to. This is a fail and a half already. Come on. Here we go. Ah, finally.
Target acquired.
And we can shoot, of course, through the center. Well, kind of. Weapons will converge on the center, but they shoot from different locations. So where you point is not exactly what you're going to hit. A good example is if I'm trying to fire down there, you see is where 3 lasers would have fired before, but because of the hill that's in the way, only 1 laser was able to fire through, whereas those lasers were just high enough where they did not collide with the hill right here. Here we will see that we have the paper dolls in the bottom left and bottom left and top right of the screen. When you press R, you'll see the paper doll of the enemy mech that you have selected on the top right, and your own mech in the bottom left. Now, yellow means you are kind of damaged. Having no armor, or no outline, means you have no more armor left in that component. Damn it. Well, okay, never mind. Let me try the arm. There we go. Component damage varies in shades from yellow to red. Orange is moderately damaged, whereas red is armor's about to go. And then there's an open component in the arm. Red is about to fall off, and then the satisfying pop as a component goes. Now, of course, I shot at a component that has nothing in it, so this mech does not care. It is still kicking. Now, if we fire at this and keep firing, and fire some more, you will see that I've destroyed a component and also taken out that LRM-10 on the top right. One thing I forgot to mention is that you can see your enemy's loadout on the right next to their paper doll. It's just to the left. You can see your own loadout. That's a terrible idea. On the bottom right. And you can see the weapon groups that you fire them from. And you can control where they fire from. Or not where they fire from, but how you fire them. Whereas, say, I didn't want those on the 1 button. I wanted them on the 3. For whatever reason, paired with that. To where now, if I press the 3 button, we're firing that. Press the 2, it's 1 laser. Press 1, it's 1 singular laser. And then I'm going to just kill this mech right here. And he's dead. As you can see on the reticle, in the center of the screen, it's moving around because it's the center of your mech where you're going to be shooting. On the left of the reticle, you can see the red and then turning into turquoise and blue. That's your cooldown. That's a notification of when things are on cooldown, you can't fire them. And then when it goes off of cooldown, it will turn back to the original color, like that. If you have multiple weapons in different groups, like an R3 button, you will see that it goes halfway to blue, meaning half of your weapons in that group are ready to fire. And then when it's completely blue, is all your weapons in that group are ready to fire. To the right of the little boxes and the reticle, you can see that there is a meter number moving every time you move. That is basically a rangefinder. A rangefinder for you in case you are unable to target an enemy. Let's say there's an enemy over on the distance yonder. I can't target it, but I know that it is 644 meters away. Now, we look at our weapons. Maybe at some point, we know the range of our weapons, and we don't have to look at that. The large pulses do optimal damage at 624 meters. That's not bad. It's only 20 meters off. I will get into the damage numbers of weapons in the next video. Right now, you really just need to be concerned with the fact that it's 644 meters away. I'm not going to be doing full damage, but I will still be doing a significant amount at that target over there. Now here, when we target a mech, you can see on the top right, let's get back to the target, there we go, on the top right, on the top left, you will see that the mech is at 100% armor integrity. The mech is 381 meters away. The designation, which is Bravo, or B, you can see the pilot's name on the top right, along with what the mech is, which is a Cataphract 1X. Now here we can just shoot at it, and if we wanted to, zoom in, fire some more, see we've cored him out, and then fire some more, and he's dead. And of course, we no longer need to lock on to dead mechs, and so it disappears. I'm just gonna rework the weapon groups, which I am simply doing with arrow keys and right control. And here, little tactical tip, if you can't see the mech, but there was smoke in the way that is now gone, conveniently, you can simply shoot at the center of that red box and you will most likely hit the mech. Now, say same thing happened, you're firing, but you're not getting that red register on the reticle like that. That means you're not hitting the mech. Now there are times where you can be hitting the mech, but you're not doing the full damage because your weapons are hitting terrain or are missing completely. That is something to notice that I'll talk about in another video. All you need to do, or all you really need to be concerned about is, hey look, enemy mech, kill it, hope it fucking dies. Oh, it's still alive, Jesus Christ, die, please. Nope, still not dead yet. Let's keep firing, hope it dies. Please, for the love of God. Oh no, panic. It's dead. We no longer need to panic. One last thing. All weapons do is this thing called generating heat. Now, certain mechs are going to be cooler and some mechs are going to be hotter. What that means is on the minimap, you can see just to the right, there is this percentage scale. where that is your heat monitor. It is important to keep track of that, as when you fire your large pulse lasers, they do about 20% in heat, and they cool off rather well because this is a cool mech in both terms. But when we fire that, when we fire 3 ER medium lasers, also reaches 20%. When we alpha, 46%. It gets hotter. But then we continuously fire, and keep on firing. That heat is rising up. We're getting a heat warning. We might want to stop firing about now. It's at 90%. Oh no. I hope something dies really quickly. Oh shit. We've now shut down. This is bad. You're going to go through a cycle of where you will basically shut down and not be able to fire, and your mech will try to cool down as fast as possible while your pilot kicks it back into gear. And at that time, you are completely defenseless, and enemy mechs will shoot you. And I believe I have covered everything. Right, you can see the compass in the middle of the screen, and that generally helps get some bearings, but it's not really needed, as you can just look on the minimap in the bottom center, and that generally gives you the direction you want to go. Whereas the nice giant arrow is where your legs are facing, and then the triangle is where your torso is facing. And then to the left of the minimap is your jump jet gauge. Not every single mech has jump jets, so that will be missing part of the time. And then, of course, how fast you are going next to that jump jet gauge, which is 81 kilometers per hour, which is it's a decent speed. So, now that we've talked about almost everything, one last thing we need to do and talk about before you drop is your mouse sensitivity. It's going to be here at 1 initially. That's way too much. What you need to do is bring it back down to about 0.15 to 0.35. It's going to feel a lot smoother, a lot less shaky, and it's not going to feel like you just tapped your mouse and all of a sudden your mech is looking off in the distance when it was originally on a mech to begin with. With that, these next 25 games, you're going to earn 1 million C-bills each. Now what C-bills are is the in-game currency that you get through playing games. C-bills can be used to buy mechs, anything that goes into a mech, and consumables. Do not, I repeat, do not buy anything until after those 25 games. Just keep playing the trial mechs. Play each trial mech at least once. This will help give you a good base on how each chassis how each category of mech is played. And you might like going fast, you might like being slow and providing the hammer, or you might like being in between. You don't know until you start playing. And after those 25 games, in the next video, we're going to talk about what you're going to do. Till then, get out there, kick ass. My name is Gitka, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.